this case today before the Supreme Court on gun laws, something that you think should be pretty automatic. A lot of us didn't know what the Supreme Court would do with this case. And this is all about whether someone who has a domestic violence restraining order against them, should they be allowed to have access to a firearm? Doesn't that seem pretty common sense? Doesn't a common sense answer to that, I should say, seem pretty clear? In this country, if a judge has determined that you are violent, that you are likely to, commit some kind of violent act against your domestic partner, doesn't it just follow that you should not have access to or be allowed to purchase or to carry a gun? Well, with this Supreme Court and the decision that it made in 2022 in that New York gun case, where it basically said the Second Amendment has no limits, and that under the Second Amendment, when you look at the historical context of the Second Amendment, that there is a right to bear arms outside the home in pretty much any circumstance that you can imagine. So that's what the Supreme Court ruled last year. And gun, control advocates have been worried for this last year in terms of what that would mean for other cases like this case involving a domestic violence restraining order. So we got what we think is going to be the court's thinking on this case, including some comments by conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett, who was in the majority in that 2022 New York case. She, though, indicated that she agreed with the U.S. solicitor that the legislature in certain states, and all states really, can make judgments to disarm people consistently with the Second Amendment based on dangerousness. Again, doesn't that seem like common sense that states should be able to prevent dangerous people from having access to guns? During the oral argument today, Chief Justice Roberts asked a question of the attorney that was challenging the state's ability to take, guns away from folks who have restraining orders against them. And he asked a question about, he asked simply, should states have the ability to take guns from dangerous people? And the lawyer had the unmitigated gall to say, well, it depends on what dangerous means. Playing cutesy with the court. And Justice Roberts said, well, let's call dangerous someone who is likely to shoot someone with a gun. It's just really nerve-wracking. It's aggravating that we are having to fight about whether someone who has been deemed dangerous enough to have a restraining order issued against them, whether that person also should or should not have the right to have a gun or to carry a gun. So I don't often credit the Supreme Court with anything. I don't agree with 99.9% of what they have decided. But if they decide this case in a way that it appears that they will, that states can take guns away from dangerous people, I'll just have to say kudos to this conservative court. And maybe this is a wake-up call about, ruling in these very sweeping ways on these extremist conservative points, like in the case involving the New York decision that was issued in 2022. There are certain things that are common sense, and not giving a dangerous person a gun is one of those things.